Hanoi, a city where ancient dynasties, revolutionary leaders, and centuries of struggle live side by side with scooters, street food, and cafe culture. If you've only got one day here, let me show you how to walk through 1000 years of history in one unforgettable route. We're talking ancient empires, fierce independence, and why this country is just next level resilient. From emperors to exam halls, revolutions to red flags, and prisons to pagodas, this is the story of Vietnam's past, present, and future. We dive into 4 spots on this walking guide, so you can hit all these epic spots in one day. Let's get into it! We start here because everything, literally everything about modern Vietnam began in this square. It was on this very ground, Ba Dinh Square, that Uncle Ho stood and read the Declaration of Independence on 2nd September 1945. That moment marked the birth of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. And today, just a few steps away, his body lies preserved inside this massive granite structure, the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. It's free to enter, but you've got to go early, like really early. We found out the hard way. Got there after 10:30 a.m. and not even a queue inside. If you do make it on time, just know there is a security check to enter. Photography inside isn't allowed, and you'll need to dress respectfully. No shorts or sleeveless tops. Even if you can't go inside, just being here, this whole complex feels like a place of quiet power, and no matter what you think of his politics, it's hard to ignore how much one man shaped this entire nation. Uncle Ho's presence is everywhere, on every banknote, in every classroom, and even in the name of Vietnam's biggest city. But here, at his final resting place, it's more than just reverence. It's a reminder of what the country has been through and how far it's come. Just behind the mausoleum is something that might surprise you. The presidential palace, painted in a bold French colonial yellow. It looks grand, right? But Uncle Ho actually refused to live in it. Instead, he chose a humble wooden stilt house tucked away in the gardens. Inspired by ethnic minority homes in northern Vietnam, this was where he lived and worked until his death. Unfortunately, we arrived too late to step inside. Again, timing matters. But even from the outside, the message is clear. This was a man who valued simplicity over status. Now this one's quite unexpected. The Ho Chi Minh Museum is not your typical dusty display of history. It's almost artistic. You walk in and immediately get the sense that the man was more than just a politician. The museum is part biography, part installation art, part timeline of Vietnam's modern journey. On the first floor, you get a glimpse of his early years, his travels, his studies, and how he adopted communism as a tool for liberation. Ho Chi Minh left Vietnam at 21 and didn't return for 30 years. That's how far he went to figure out how to save his country. Upstairs, the exhibits cover colonial resistance, the brutal wars against France, Japan, and America, and Vietnam's path to independence. There's even an interactive section with battle simulations and media footage. One of the most memorable rooms, the Lotus Room, symbolic, beautiful, and deeply Vietnamese. It's a reminder that even in struggle, something pure can bloom. If you're looking for a quick history 101 on Vietnam with a bit of flair, this place delivers. Next door, things shift from political to spiritual. The One Pillar Pagoda, built in 1049, it stands on a single stone pillar, like a lotus rising out of the water. Small, yes, but full of symbolism. Inside is a shrine for blessings, health, fertility, success. We saw parents holding young children and students quietly praying before exams. It's peaceful here. After the heavy themes of war and ideology, this place gives you a moment to just breathe. Before heading out again, we made a quick stop at the cafe next to Ho Chi Minh Museum. Known for its creative bubbly combinations and unique toppings, it's the perfect spot to recharge while continuing the rest of your historic walk. Exploring Hanoi by cyclo can be a fun and exciting way to soak in the sights. But believe me, it's not the best idea for getting around. We hopped on one impulsively, and for a ride of less than 2 kilometers, we ended up paying 150,000 Vietnam dong each. Worse, we were dropped off far from where we expected. The mistake: saying yes too quickly without asking the right questions. Always agree on the price and the destination before setting off, otherwise the ride may cost more than it's worth. You're about to walk on 1,000 years of secrets, with layers of history beneath the ground you walk. About 1,000 years ago, Hanoi wasn't even called Hanoi. It was Thăng Long, the rising dragon. As you enter Duan Mon, the majestic southern gate, look closely. It has 5 entrances. The center one, reserved only for the king. That's how deeply hierarchy and symbolism was embedded in Vietnamese royal culture. That's why it's now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You'll even see restoration happening in real time, brick by brick, trying to bring this lost kingdom back to life. Climb to the 2nd floor and take in the view. Right there, the Hanoi Flag Tower, built in 1812. It somehow survived both French demolition and American bombings. It was even used as a military lookout. But its most powerful moment? October 10, 1954, the day Vietnam's red flag with the yellow star was raised here for the very first time. Since then, it's flown high above Hanoi as a symbol of independence, resilience, and national pride. This was the moment Vietnam broke free from 1,000 years of Chinese rule and stood on its own. The emperor built his citadel here, and for centuries, this was the center of power. And its heart stood Kin Tian Palace, the ceremonial core of the empire, where kings held court, made key decisions, and welcomed foreign envoys. Then came the Nguyen dynasty. The capital moved to Hue, and Thăng Long slowly slipped into the shadows. When the French arrived in 1885, they destroyed most of the old palace. Right across from where the palace once stood, you can go underground to the secret military bunkers.
This is scary.
During the Vietnam War, the Vietnamese used this exact space as Command Bunker D-67 to fight the Americans. But Thăng Long wasn't lost forever. Today, it's rising again, reclaiming its place in history. Ongoing excavations have uncovered foundations of ancient buildings, roads, wells, evidence that a whole city may have existed here long before. This citadel isn't just stone and soil, it's the beating heart of Hanoi's story, surviving dynasties, colonial rule, and war. If you want to understand Vietnam's layered past, this is where the journey begins. Then, we ran into him, Lenin. Yes, that Lenin, the Russian revolutionary leader. This statue was a gift from the Soviet Union in 1982, a symbol of Vietnam's strong historic ties with communist allies. Don't let the name fool you. Temple of Literature isn't just a temple. It's Vietnam's very first national university. That's right, students have been coming here to study for over 1,000 years. Stepping inside, the first two courtyards feels like green sanctuaries. It's calm, contemplative, a perfect escape from Hanoi's chaos. There are 5 courtyards, each like a chapter in the journey of a scholar. The pathways themselves had meaning. The middle one for kings, side ones for students and commoners. Next comes the Pavilion of Constellation. the iconic red structure you'll spot on the back of the 100,000 Vietnam dome note. It symbolizes wisdom shining through the clouds and has become the symbol of Hanoi. Back then, it was where exam papers were reviewed. When we visited, the place was buzzing. Graduates, dozens of them in their robes. You could feel the pride, the achievement. A square pond that served as a mirror, clear water reflecting a clear mind. Scholars would stop here to reflect, literally, before heading to the most sacred spaces. The giant stone tablets on the backs of turtles are names of scholars who you may say made it to the Ivy League, getting a scholarship and being knighted all in one. In the fourth courtyard, you're at the heart of it all, the house of ceremonies and the sanctuary to Confucius and his disciples. This is where offerings are made, incense is lit, and prayers whispered, especially during exam season. It's grand, solemn, and full of reverence. There's a museum where you can try your hand at calligraphy, but we didn't have time. Built in 1070 and dedicated to Confucius, this place was where royal scholars, government officials, and Vietnam's brightest minds were trained, not just in academics, but in values, knowledge, morality, discipline, not just for exams, but for life. And right outside, in the beautiful garden, you can sit, breathe, and take it all in. And finally, you reach the fifth courtyard, the site of the actual Imperial Academy, the only two-story structure here. Downstairs, you'll find a statue of Chu Van An, one of Vietnam's most respected educators. Upstairs, altars dedicated to the kings who made this all possible. Even today, students come to pray before exams, surrounded by the energy of centuries of scholars who came before them. In a world of fast internet and AI revolution, the Temple of Literature is a reminder. Real knowledge takes time, respect, and effort. This isn't just an old building, it's a living tribute to Vietnam's love for learning. Right between the Temple of Literature and Hoa Lo Prison, there's a great halal option. It's a cozy air-conditioned spot serving authentic Vietnamese, Singaporean, and Malaysian halal food. There's a rich taste of beef, which is a real treat if you're looking for familiar flavors. The prices are reasonable, portions are generous, and if you've had enough walking for the morning, this is a great place to sit down and refuel before the next leg of your historic trail. Generally, it's hard to find halal certified Vietnamese food in Hanoi. Most halal restaurants here serve Indian, Pakistani, or Turkish food. So when you do come across a place that offers Vietnamese dishes with halal options, it's definitely a bonus. And from where students once chased dreams, we now walk into a place where others were punished for theirs. The French called it Maison Centrale, or Central House. The Americans called it the Hanoi Hilton. But to the Vietnamese, it was Hoa Lo, the fire furnace. And once you step inside, you understand why this is the most chilling sight in Hanoi. Built by the French in 1896 to crush Vietnamese resistance, this prison became a symbol of pain, power, and eventually perseverance. What you see here isn't easy. These weren't criminals. They were teachers, students, journalists, ordinary people who simply spoke out against colonial rule, Vietnamese men who dared to dream of independence. The rooms are dark and narrow, lined with rows of stone beds and rusted ankle shackles. Prisoners were often chained together at the feet. Down a dim corridor lies the cachot, the dungeon. It's a place no one entered without leaving part of their soul behind. Inmates were shackled on a stone slab, left to lie in their own filth, nearly unable to move for days, sometimes 30 days straight. With poor sanitation and no medical care, disease claimed hundreds each year. The torture wasn't just physical, it was physiological. Many emerged blind, deaf, or paralyzed. Some never emerged at all. In the female detention area, the cruelty didn't relent. 5 small cells, cold, bare, and damp, held women who fought against colonial rule. One room was reserved for mothers with infants, where babies were given no clothing and no food, and had to survive solely on their mother's rations. These rooms echo not just with pain, but with quiet strength. Even a real guillotine, shipped from France and used to execute political prisoners right on these grounds. To some, the guillotine may seem like a quick execution method, but here in Vietnam, where the head is considered sacred, it was seen as deeply disrespectful, a violation of both the body and the spirit. Behind thick wooden doors, tight spaces lit only by fear and fading hope, men waited for their executions under the blade of a guillotine. Yet, amid the brutality, something extraordinary happened. Prisoners turned cells into classrooms. They shared ideas, taught each other, organized resistance. Revolution was not only born here, it was organized here. Through coded messages, smuggled notes, and even signals passed beneath the roots of the tropical almond tree that still grows in the courtyard. It's just some of Vietnam's future leaders passed through these walls, scars and all, and emerged stronger. Using smuggled tools and sheer determination, some prisoners managed to escape through filthy, narrow sewers towards freedom. Over 100 political prisoners broke free in March 1945 as the Japanese briefly seized control from the French. Eventually, the French were forced to leave. Vietnam declared independence in 1945, and by 1954, with the signing of the Geneva Accords, the prison was handed over to Vietnamese control. But peace didn't come. During the Vietnam War, the same prison held captured American pilots. From 1964, Hoa Lo became the holding place for American prisoner of wars. They nicknamed it the Hanoi Hilton, a bitter joke for a place that held so much suffering. The museum today shows photos of smiling pilots and sports activities. But this museum focuses mostly on the first period under French colonial rule, so you won't find much here about the American prisoners of wars. But this one truth remains: pain has no nationality. In one room, the names of thousands of revolutionary prisoners are engraved in gold. It's quiet. Chairs face a screen that plays stories of sacrifice, of struggle, of purpose. This isn't just a museum exhibit, it's a memorial. In the courtyard, a solemn memorial wall stands quietly, etched with names and sculpted in stone, honoring those who never walked out of these gates. We were deeply moved by the immense suffering and the unbreakable endurance of those imprisoned here. They didn't just survive, they thought, resisted, and hoped. And right here, in Hoa Lo Prison, fate was rewritten, not through captivity, but through courage. Hoa Lo is no longer just a museum. It's a place of remembrance. It's a place where you don't just learn history, you inherit it. That's our journey through Hanoi's most important historical sites, a city where ancient empires clash with fierce revolutions, where humility defines greatness, and where the past is literally alive beneath your feet. If you're ever in Hanoi, visit these 4 spots. You'll walk away not only with cool photos, but with a deeper understanding of this incredible country's journey. Until we bring you travel again. Bye!